Hello, welcome to Wall Street Aftermarket Report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date is October the 14th, 2018. And hello, Vegas.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Got a good
Well,
night's sleep. We had a great week last week. We predicted that the market would recover. We had a good Friday and can't wait for Monday.
I don't blame you. The markets were challenging last week, and people were looking to play some options, shorting the SPY. So there were some good opportunities to make some money, and obviously being cautious. So we hope to see a good day tomorrow. But of course, what's on everyone's mind, of course, is pot is hot.
Oh, excuse me.
So, as you guys know, in 72 hours, it will be legal in Canada to purchase, possess, or grow recreational cannabis with some considerable caveats depending on which part of the country you live in. So, on this Wednesday, the 17th, the country will mark a historic movement at the end of the criminal prohibition on marijuana. And what's interesting is obviously people are counting down the legal cannabis, which is measurable now in hours. Many retailers and police forces and the general public are actually still curious and uncertain about how the rollout is going to actually go. Stay tuned on that. One of the challenges is, people are not sure how it's going to, how it's going to affect society. So, who knows what's going to happen? All we know is it's going legal and there's a lot of hype with pot stocks. So, on that note, I do want to talk about a whole list of pot plays. And I will just actually name the tickers now. So, if you want to grab a pen, you should be writing these down. And we're going to talk about them one by one. So, the ones we're going to talk about will be Acbff, ALEAF, Tgodf, Pura, Tlry, and Tcnnf. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim because we're going to talk about Acbff, Aurora Cannabis, and we're also going to talk about Aleaf. So, Jim, what do you got to tell us about those two companies?
Well, I know that Acbff and Aleaf will be uplisted to the NASDAQ, which is going to be very good news. And you're going to probably refresh us on Tgodf. And here,
Yes.
and so that's basically what I wanted to say about them. And unless you want me to talk about the charts or you have more to say, go right ahead.
No, I wanted you to. Can you talk about the charts first? And then I'm just going to give a commentary on Acbff and the connection it has with Tgodf, because I don't think a lot of people know, and maybe some of you do know, but there's a lot of people that probably don't. So I'm going to talk about that momentarily. But I would love if you could talk about those amazing charts.
Okay, Acbff, here we are again. We're getting up past that $10 level, and that's where we kind of called a resistance at $10. Now this thing's had a high this year already of 12.30. Now we know this is the big week that we've been waiting for, so we're expecting this thing to go ahead and bounce on up this week. You can see it's already had a great breakout for the last month. It has real nice pullbacks, and then when it pulls back, it bounces right back up. So we're at a resistance right now. We closed at 10.52. Let's see if we can take this to 10.81 tomorrow, maybe a little higher, around $11, and that's going to be your next resistance. And we'll just keep bringing it up and playing the pullbacks on this thing. This is Acbff. Then we got Aleaf. Aleaf is one that we called out, and it kind of pulls back a little bit. I think it's just now starting to pick up momentum. And I'm going to I don't know why I got these. I guess I called me a little flag right here. You see that little flag? That's called a pennant flag right there, and how it broke up. You had that big run right there on the month, and then I called this flag out last week. And right when that happened, man, bingo, that thing run up to about 271, then pulled back to support right here around 224. So we got a green flag on it again Friday. We think it's going to go ahead and bounce back up to this resistance level of 267, and then we're going to catch the momentum and maybe ride it up to this long resistance of 320, and that's Aleaf. And I just want to go ahead and pull up the 5-day chart on it, see how we pulled back. So we're ready to break out again. Keep a good eye on this stock. We want it to break this resistance level right here at 236 come Monday morning. And then the last one here, I just now got notified of it, so I'm not real fresh on it yet. But let's take a good look at it. Tgodf. I have not charted this up at all. I'm going to pull up the year's chart. What I'm seeing is a good pullback here. We got a low support of around 416 with a good pivot point of 442. And then that first close there, it closed at 455. So we're going to run it up to this next channel here at 469 and maybe hit it up here to the 50-day SMA at 493. And look, you still got a big mountain here to climb. So let's see if we can get it up to this final resistance of 526. And we're going to keep a good eye on it. I haven't monitored this at all. This will be the first time this week I'm going to be watching it. This is Tgodf. And those are the three that you're talking about, Vegas.
Yes, and I actually just want to talk about the connection between Tgodf, which is on the OTC side, and on the Canadian market, it's under Tgod. So this is the Green Organic Dutchman Holdings Company, and they do have a partnership, just so you guys know, with Aurora Cannabis, which is Acbff. And they actually had a milestone option under the investors' rights agreement between themselves and Aurora Cannabis. And that had expired. And the milestone option actually entitled Aurora Cannabis to acquire 8% of the common shares of the company. And, this milestone was achieved in August. And, 3 months after the company actually became listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And, Aurora could have purchased 8% of the company shares on a fully diluted basis at a 10% discount to the 10-day VWAP. But anyhow, what ended up happening is Aurora has elected not to exercise the milestone option, and but they do maintain the right to purchase up to 20% of the company's cannabis, so they can do that. But the thing is that they're an incredible partner, okay? Both parties plan to continue the partnership. They invested $78.1 million into the company, and they've added tremendous value with multiple areas of collaboration, including the construction and design of a Canadian facility. And the $75 million bought deal financing ensures that Tgodf has the capital to continue their international expansion at a very rapid pace. And they're looking to expand distribution and extending sales in Europe and Latin America. So even though the milestone option expired, there's many, many possibilities that exist in the future for these two very complementary companies. So, I want you to keep in mind that they are building, and I'm talking about Tgodf, they are building a 1.382 million square foot facility in Quebec and also in Jamaica. So I think you guys should keep a watch on this cheaper stock in comparison to the other ones out there because of the connection it has with Acbff. And you know what? If Acbff is going to be uplisted, okay, because that's in the pipes, as well as Aleaf, well, don't you think down the road this one's going to be uplisted? So, it's kind of a domino. We just don't know when. So I think you guys should also keep a watch on this one if it's not already on your list. But I just wanted to introduce the connection with those two because I don't think a lot of people knew about that. So yeah. Now you know.
They legalized marijuana in Jamaica back in 2015, and I took a trip down there about a month after they legalized it, and I'm just reading now that they're going to build, they got plans on building a 1.257 million square foot cultivation facility in Ontario, Quebec, and Jamaica. So, man, I'm going to really monitor this stock. I think it's going to be a Tgodf. Keep it on a good watch list.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so on to the next one. Jim's talked about this one. If you've been following us and subscribing, you know this is not new. Pura, Pura. And I'm going to let Jim talk about this one because that's kind of been his little baby.
Yep. Well, I got this off of Timothy Sykes watching one of his videos one day, and he kind of blew it off a little bit, but he had it on watch. And so I mentioned it to Vegas when it was down here at 5 cents, 5.5. And let me go ahead and type this. I was just showing you the website. This has a price target by analysts at 25 cents. This has been a pretty good little mover all year long, up and down, up and down. Then here in the last month, it's really took off. And so we played this Friday. I'm going to pull up a little daily chart on it. There's your 5-day chart. See how in the last 3 days we called this down here right around this area last Monday. And I said, start keeping your, maybe start picking up some shares. And then we noticed it really started picking volume up on Wednesday. Wednesday, I said, it's getting ready to break out. So we called a target of about 10 cents. We came pretty close to it. We hit 9. Then after hours, it hit 10 cents. So the next day, I said, if we break the 10 cents, we're going to go to 15. Well, look what we did here. We went to 14.80. We hit that 15 cent target. And I've been through this scenario before. And so I was starting to pull up just a little bit of bear flag on it because I thought it was going to pull back a little bit for another re-entry. And it did exactly that on Friday. Right out of the gate. It did not want to break that 14.80, so it pulled on back. And I was telling the crew in the room, say, man, it's 10 cents. It gets down to 10 cents. Grab you some shares. And we tagged down here around 10.14, somewhere around there, 10.18. I jumped in it right around here, right around 10.7, if I remember right. We got 20,000 shares, and I ran it all the way up, and I sold it once it hit that high, right around 12.70. So I made a 2 cent flip, on that, netted me about $200 and some dollars, 260 some dollars. So it pulled back a little bit for everybody to have another chance to get back in it. So let's see what happens to Pura. We still are bullish on it. I'm going to play the pullbacks and the bounces, see if it bounces up, and we're going to pull up the 1-day chart. And on the 1 day, I have it set up with the 50, the 200, and the 100 SMA. So I'm going to keep a good eye. I'm not in it right now. I sold all my shares. I'm going to see if I can get in on a pullback and play another bounce. But I think we hit kind of resistance here at 15, and we're just going to let it consolidate for the next bounce. And that's Pura. And I really think this could be another IGC maybe in the long run. I mean, this thing could really take off. It really picks up momentum. And the tape's been beautiful in the last 3 days. They don't want this thing to dip. So there you go, Vegas.
Okay, so that's interesting. So hope you guys are enjoying that information because Jim really analyzes those charts a lot. So hopefully you guys are learning with his information.
And we just started a TTM squeeze too. So let's see what happens come Monday.
Yeah, I like that. TTM squeeze.
Yep.
Also, not a lot, Tlry, Tlry. Stock did go up about 12%. I didn't really see any major changes in the company. You guys know this skyrocketed not too long ago. It went up to $300. Now it's pulled back. I still think you guys should keep an eye on this one because it could, potentially wake up again. I don't know if it'll go all the way up there again just yet, but I mean, this is one to just add to your watch list and see if, this is something, to keep on watching, because I actually think that the stock, when I was taking a look at it, the stock's been flagging for actually 8 days. So just keep a watch on it, and it's had the lowest volume in 2 months. Okay, so keep a watch on TLRY. And I don't, Jim. I mean, you can see the chart there. What do you see?
Well, I see you had a wonderful Friday. I mean, it really started out in the morning. I think it's preparing for this week. I think we're going to go ahead and bounce on up a little bit more. I'd like to see it hit, this 155 area and then maybe 170 and pull back. I don't want to see it take off to that $300 again. I just want to start seeing it consolidate in this area, which it has done. Vegas and I called this under 100 when it hit 100 a little while back, and she just brought it up. And I said, Vegas, if this thing goes under 100, it might be another good buy. And let me show you exactly what happened on that day.
Mm-hmm.
We went down here to that 100. We had that big, they were downgrading it, and that guy was going to try to short this thing, and it didn't work too well for him. It went down to 100 and then bounced back up, went back to 170 6 days later. So we had a little pullback here, pretty good little, not a real strong, I mean, healthy. When I say healthy, I mean it didn't dip back down to that 100. It stopped right down here around 127. So we're at 148. I think we've got a flag right here that's going to bring it up a little higher. Let's see if we can hit that resistance at 164, 175. TLRY. It's my little baby. We called this thing at $24. It said buy it. And look, and it ran all the way up to $300. So, and it's a new IPO. It's just been out for 3 months. So keep a good eye on TLRY. Make sure it's on your watch list.
Absolutely.
Then we got one
And
more.
one last one, guys. I know it's a lot of pot plays, but it's good to be informed. And the beauty of these pot plays is that you can actually check out the different the price points of these different pot plays. I mean, Pura to me is one of the cheaper ones, as you can see. And remember, like even IGC, which people don't like, that was I think 16-cent marijuana stock, and look where it is now. So I mean, who knows where these can go? You just got to play them carefully and diligently, and of course take profits.
Yep.
But Tcnnf is called Trulieve Cannabis Corp. And this company here, if you take a look, is currently at closed on Friday, 1421. Is that
Yep.
the close that you see there, Jim?
Mm.
Okay. So the reason I like this company is that this is a Canadian company, but this company actually is medical cannabis, and it's in Florida, exclusively in Florida. And obviously, they recently listed their shares on the Canadian Securities Exchange. So they do have 90 cannabis-based products in 17 retail locations in Florida. I mean, that is one to watch, okay? It's just because of all the locations and the potential growth of this particular stock. I think that you guys would be interested to keep this on your radar. This is definitely a company that I'm really liking. I actually think it's probably undervalued. And I think that in time it'll be interesting to see the story of this company. And I don't know if you guys watch, not that I'm a huge fan, but Jim Cramer had an interview recently with Kim Rivers, who is the CEO of this company. So you might want to check that out just to get familiar with her a little bit. But I would think this is one to watch because their revenue grew from 152.2 million in the first quarter of the year of earlier this year to 23.3 million. They've got 83,000 active unique patients, and they have, I mentioned all the different dispensaries. So they are basically a seed to sale company. It's the first and largest licensed medical cannabis company in Florida. And they actually cultivate and produce all of its products in-house and distribute those products to Trulieve branded stores. So those are basically the dispensaries in Florida. And they direct as well directly to patients through home delivery. So, this is a very interesting company. So I definitely think you guys should add this to your watch. and see what happens. I think there's a lot more growth to come from this particular stock and this company. So I think add it on watch, and from there you'll get to see what, the growth of this company, and see what comes up down the road. So Jim, anything to add on this particular
Yeah,
company?
yeah. Is this a new IPO? It seems like it.
I'd have to check for you,
It
but
don't seem like it has too many
I
days
don't
here.
think. No, I don't think so.
So
They actually, they've been on. How long have they been out here now?
4,
Let's
5,
take a look
6, 7,
here.
8, 9, 10, 11 days.
How many days?
Looks like 11 days I can only pull up on this thing.
Yeah, I think back in what? Did they come out in September?
Yeah.
I think September 25.
Yep. Okay. Well, this is I'm just
So there
charted
you
it up.
go.
I just charted
Yes.
it up in front of you. I'm
Yep.
finding a support here right around $13.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. That low support at 13, and then I got a resistance right up around 14.45. So let's keep a good eye on this, and not just like it said, it seems like it broke right out of the gate here at 966, ran all the way
Right.
up to $18 in 5 days, pulled back, consolidated in this little channel. We're going to run up to the 50-day Monday, which is at 438, and let's just watch it. Let's see if we can hit this resistance around 15 to 1560. And then,
Okay, so keep an eye on that. And I just want to just clarify, because I apologize. I confused it with something else, but I know that the company only listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange in September 25th. So at least I did remember that. And the company, just so you know, that the CEO, Kim Rivers, she did mention in her interview with Kramer that they went IPO because they do want to have more acquisitions, and they're looking to do that in the very near term. And she said that, they're obviously not looking to just remain in Florida. They're looking to probably host other states. So this is why I believe this could be a potential stock down the road that could grow. And Jim gave you guys some numbers there, but definitely keep this one on watch. I really like it. So
I do too.
I don't have a position at all
I'm looking at the
in this,
website,
but
and
I'm interested in this company because it's pretty new. Uh, and I think they have obviously a plan to a growth plan. And I think that down the road, this could be a pretty good stock to own based on, revenue and actions and partnerships. So keep a watch on this one here. I like it.
I like the website because it seems like it's connecting the dispensaries and the
Yes.
doctors and the patients all in one
Yeah. And
little
you know what?
thing.
They're into the medical cannabis, which I got to tell you, I stuff, as you guys know, I love. And medical cannabis is really where the money is. So medical cannabis is going to become a hot commodity. And I think we'll start seeing that in a lot of these companies that have, obviously this particular line in their platform. So,
Well, that finishes our pot stock update, and I'll finish it with a bong hit.
well,
Okay.
that was a great way to end that on a.
Yep.
So now I'm just going to turn it over now to a couple other stocks that I love this week. And you know what they say, we love stocks, but don't fall in love with the stock. But so far, I will say we did talk about Thursday, guys and girls, about CRMD.
Woo.
And we talked about Cormedics, and I was shocked. If you guys remember, I was saying that I had the stock at like 68 cents. I'm just like so amazed. I mean, I obviously don't have it anymore from that price, but I did get back into the trade Friday morning, and I got I think it was $1.97. So I'm still holding the stock, and it just keeps making new 52-week highs. And I'm gonna let Jim talk about this because he really loves this now.
Oh yeah. And I'm showing you this little run here from that 50-cent area, and it's been bullish all the way up. I mean, it takes a big run and consolidates. Takes a big run, and then we had a little pullback right here, but man, it consolidated on that pullback and ran up again Thursday. And then we noticed Friday. Now look at this. This is what really I like, is we have this little pennant flag here. And I got in this thing here, right here at the Friday at the 200 SMA on a daily 1 minute and took it right up here and got out of it. So I was able to get in it here right around $2 and get out at 220. So, and then I just watched it pull back a little bit, and I got involved in a couple other stocks, but it closed up there at the day high. And then you see this pennant flag that I've got going on here. That's a breakout flag. So when it pulled back to that area, it respected that trend line, but then pulled back right after hours and bounced right up to that previous high. So we've got this little flag here. I think pre-market, any kind of pullback would be a decent entry to get in, right around 210 maybe. But let's see it break out of Monday morning. Let's see it break past that 230 area. When it breaks past that
Okay.
230, we're gonna have another little breakout. Now this has been hitting 52-week highs for the last, oh my, 4 or 5 trading days, all the way back to even 925. So keep it on watch if you're not playing it. I know a lot of people are holding this thing long, but always set your stops and always be careful, because we're up big on this thing and you never know what's going to happen. So that's CRMD, our
Okay.
hot one.
And I hope you guys are listening, because I want ears.
Oh yeah.
EARS. So I gotta tell you, if you guys jumped in and visited our chat room, you guys, I called the breakout live on voice. And it was really exciting to see.
It was fun.
And it was fun. And people made money, so that's what I care about, is that they're banking. And some people traded it twice, like they let the breakout come, profited, waited for a pullback. Jim called another pullback at 88 cents, and back in they went. And then people swing traded it into Monday. So I'm going to let Jim talk about the chart in 1 second, but I just want to remind everyone that this company, the reason for the hype, as you know, they have an update to give key results on the second phase 1 trial on Wednesday, the 17th. Oh my God, so much happening Wednesday. Pot's going to be out, and now Ears is going to have their update on phase 1. Wednesday could be a really exciting day in the market. So depending on how the news responds, okay, we have to hear the update. Is the news positive on this, vertigo? So we'll wait and see what the news is what the company plans to release. They will also have a conference call on Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a webcast. You can certainly go to their website and register, or you can call in. I will actually put the link of where you can register to listen to the presentation. I will put the information in our YouTube channel, and you're welcome to go click it, register, and save. And you might want to check out what they're going to talk about so that you understand what the news is all about. And I'm going to let Jim talk about where the stock can go if there is actually maybe positive news. But I will tell you, until this news comes out, expect some hype on the stock for the next couple of days.
And I was playing this Ears, and I mean, I called this all day long. This was such a beautiful play. If anybody didn't get in it, they could have got in it many a times on many a bounces. And it was just a fun one. I was on it all day long. And right out of the gate, we broke out. You can see right here, right off of that 50 SMA. I mean, that 100 SMA. And it bounced up off that 100 SMA and hit my little resistance that we had right around 93, 94 cents. And I seen it kind of starting to pull back, and then it regained compliance, a little bit of bounce there. And then I noticed a little flag, and I said, maybe we want to go ahead and get out, pull back, and see if we can hit that 100 again. And if we didn't, we pulled right back. I waited for the second drop on it. And I always like to, when I see a big red candle, I always like to wait for the second one, because it seems like it consolidates a little bit on that first one. Then people are getting a little nervous and they shake on out. But this is a very strong, beautiful tape, wonderful trade. And we've called this out from the bottom 3 days in a row, I think. Let me look at the 5-day here real fast before I carry on. Yeah, right here. See, we called this right down in here. Boom, boom, and we're going to call it out again for Monday morning. We think it's going to go ahead and break on out of that 108. But I'm telling you, this is one that can pull back to that 100 SMA. So you just want to be real careful with it. Don't get too worried while you're in it. We are up good on it, and we did break that dollar. So if anybody that's not in this trade and you got a 1 minute daily chart set up with the 200, the 100, and the 50 SMA, let it pull back to that 200 SMA. That will be your entry point. Don't try to rush in the trade. Let it pull back, because the thing's going to pull back to support a little bit. It's just evident, and that's just its pattern. But keep an eye on the tape and the level 2, and let's see what happens into this conference that's coming up, the data report that Vegas is talking about. And that's ears. If you got your ears on, listen well.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yep.
And one last one, guys. So if you've been listening all this time, no pun intended, this is the last one for today. So another one that you should be on watch is AMDA, America. I noticed, I took a trade on this stock on Friday afternoon because I noticed a huge order going through at the ask for over 300,000 shares. So I did the math and I'm like, someone's putting in 100 grand in here. So that was interesting. And then obviously the stock did move. I think it went in the, what was the high of day there, Jim, on Friday in the 30s, like 34 cents, 35 cents? Where'd it go?
It went all the way up to 30.84. It had a high of 34.6, 346, with a resistance right at 34 cents.
Okay,
Just a
so
little
the
bit under.
reason, yeah, so Jim's going to talk about the chart in more detail in a second. But the only reason I will say that I do like the company, so I still have the stock. I did swing it into next week, which is obviously this coming week, is only because the company actually closed the sale of their spine business to a company called CTL Medical, which is a Dallas-based privately held medical device manufacturer. And what this does for this stock, AMDA, it actually now makes them a debt-free company and $10 million now in the bank. So this now allows the company to obviously position themselves because they have a positive cash position and can actually look at some multiple strategic options going forward. And this was actually stated by Dr. Sunny Ball, who is the chairman of the board of America Corporation. So, just keep it on watch. And then Jim can talk about where he would like to see a potential spot to get in and where, some potential resistance points. But keep it on watch because I was interested in what I saw. And I love that the company is debt free. And this is really important. So when you hear stuff on social media, pump and dump, there are going to be some trashy companies out there. But this company, in my opinion, is intriguing because of the fact that they now have $10 million debt free, and they're focusing on, strategic options. So you know what? It should be on watch. And I'm in the trade at this point. And we'll see what I do with it Monday, because for now, there's no reason for me just to sell it yet in terms of closing it. So I'm just going to still hold on to it, and I'm going to let Jim talk about that chart. Jim, what do you see on that chart?
Well, I don't know much of the trading history on it. I've just started watching it, but I look at the yearly chart. We had a high of around 693, and it's been pulling back and bouncing up a little bit and then pulling back, and we had a big breakout here for some reason at that 200 SMA, and it pulled back, and we've just down here at the bottom of 1815, and that's just been here last month. So let me pull up a 20-day chart in here. Now, we had a breakout Friday right at close because of Vegas. Did you say some big bids were coming in?
No, what I did see is what intrigued me was that I saw one big order come in.
One big order come in.
Over a bit, yeah, I saw a big one come in for over 300,000 shares.
Okay.
I think it was 364,000 shares. and that intrigued me. And I
Yep.
thought, why is this person buying the stock?
Yep.
So it was intriguing, and then I researched more about the company and saw that they closed their deal the week before, and now that they're debt free. So I kind of liked all that information,
Okay.
and I decided to take a position in the stock. And then I
Okay.
did start seeing some activity on the tape, but then it did pull back
Yep.
towards the close.
Right at
So
support.
some people scalped it, and then they didn't swing anything, and that's just on watch for a lot of people. So I'm
Yeah.
still holding, but I just recommend that it's just on watch at this
Okay.
point.
Well, it pulled back. It broke out to that 34, and I had a 34 resistance on it, and it pulled back right to this support level right here. You see this other previous high, and that's right at 30 cents. So let's see. I don't think it'll go no lower than 28. It might touch this 100 SMA right here around 27.31. But it'll bounce back up to this support level again to 30 cents, and then that's where the mustard, that's where the hits the fan. It's got to break that 30 and bounce on up. So that's AMDA. I'm going to be monitoring, watching it next week. And we gave you a good little watch list here. We gave you a nice selection of pot stocks to watch, and then
Oh
our
yeah.
then our updates on our two big runners last week, and then AMDA for a possibility of another breakout. In Vegas, anything you want to say here? I know you got a couple things you want to mention.
Oh yeah. So first of all, I want to say sorry, guys, if you're hearing my little dog bark. He's a 5-month-old Maltese, purebred, and so he's very sensitive to noise. I'm noticing. So whenever he hears like noise, he seems to be a little guard dog. So I apologize for that. So hopefully, if you guys are dog lovers, you'll you'll understand. But anyways, I just want to thank everyone for following and subscribing, but more importantly, um, for the beautiful comments that we've been getting from so many people. And I know there's actually a lot of the people that follow that told me they're in other Discord channels, and they've actually direct messaged me, direct messaged Jim, and really saying that the videos have been very helpful. They appreciate the commentary. They're learning so much information. And this is why we put the content. We've also been asked suggested, I guess, by other people that they would like to eventually, they want to know if there would be some coaching classes down the road. So Jim and I are going to look at working on some coaching classes in the future. This takes a lot of time and work, but it's worth it if we know that it's going to help you guys. We'll have to look at doing something that's cost effective, because obviously, we don't want to do something that's not cost effective. And there's so many things out there that are so much money, and we don't want to do that. We want to do something that's reasonable and fair, but also can help you as a trader, because really that's the mission. So anyhow, stay tuned for news on that. I'm trying to work on a couple things behind the scenes, and until I have some more details and collaborate with Jim a little more, we hopefully will be able to fulfill some of those wishes that we've been getting asked of the viewers. So I just want to thank you guys so much. I am just amazed and so grateful that you guys have been supporting us and complimenting. And I just love when I hear, you even popped by the room and you just checked it out and you were able to make money, which is all I care about, really. So, I mean, not every trade's going to, there are losing trades. That is the nature of the stock market. But, at least you have good guidance and real time on voice. And that is so helpful. And Jim can speak to that because he gets bombarded with messages from people. Right, Jim?
Yes, I do. I'm always
And
there to help people find a chart or to get out of a stock, or because a lot of beginners, they're just beginning, and I've been at this for 14 years, and I realize what they're going through. We've all been there, and so it's just nice to share Vegas and I experiences that we've had through the market, and that's why we do this, because it helps me. I've learned more from the beginners than I have from experienced traders. So because I look up stuff, and every alert that I get from a beginner is just another add that I could put on my watch list, and I like to keep it fresh and simple.
Exactly. Okay, so on that, I think it's been a great Sunday afternoon. I'm sure you guys have some, things to do, but definitely be prepared for the markets this week. I wonder what tomorrow is going to be like because, the SPY has to sort of, continue to go on a positive trend. And the SPY didn't look too pretty to me on Friday. So wonder what it's going to be like Monday. So again, we'll see how market reacts Monday. A lot of people, when the SPY is not going well, people are just more in cash and not trading. So just something to keep in mind. So on that note, that's all for today. Thank you again. And we look forward to speaking to you guys tomorrow because we just love stocks.
We sure do. This is the aftermarket report with Vegas and Jim. This is a little longer segment because we do that on Sundays. We feel like it's a good warm format for you to wake up to Monday to, and we wish you all the best trading next week. I love stocks. Vegas loves stocks. We all love stocks.